Hi, I'm Euge Valovirta, and this one is about Original Effects RD Compact Hot Rod pedal, which is, at least to me, a very good hot rodded Plexi in a box. Let's go through the control first. So there's these post-drive EQ controls. I'll put a picture there, you can see. So P/amp means power amp. So if you're running this directly into a power amp, you switch it up. We're gonna check that out soon. And then there's EQ1 and EQ2. EQ2 adds a lot of presence and brightness. So let's say if your amp you're using this with is really dark, it's you know, really handy thing. And then there's this adjustment where you can fine tune these EQ and power amp controls to a brighter or darker. Then there's your output, highs, lows, gain, blend, you know, dry and OD. I had it full. These are basically the settings in the picture what I use on the intro when I noodled the Hot for Teacher. And then more presence knob. So this kind of, I believe, at least to me, kind of simulates the behavior, kind of the negative feedback over real Plexi, how much there is a, you know, presence. And but simplified is that left it's brighter, right it's a bit darker. Really cool thing. All right, let me hook this up back to the board, and then I'll show you, go through the gear and signal chain and sounds, and we're gonna actually compare it to my own Marshall 1959 hand-wired hot-rodded Plexi. All right, so the signal chain. This is my heavily Frankensteined EVH Frankie. It has a Schaller's Lackmeister bridge, which is basically like original Floyd Rose with the drop tuner, Seymour Duncan 78 bridge pickup, and a Seymour Duncan vintage stacked, I think, but it's like a stacked single coil, so it doesn't hum. Three-way pickup switch, one volume. Even though it says ESP here, the neck is Warmouth neck. Then it goes to my pedal board, and now I don't have anything on. It sounds like this. So the signal goes straight into my Marshall JCM800 2203 from 1985, also known as the little brother, and into a low input. The settings are presence 4, bass 7, mids 5, treble 6, master 4, preamp 7. So it's basically just a clean amplifier. Then it goes to my front power station where I'm attenuating it a little bit, then into my oversized Mesa Boogie cabinet with V30s from 94, mic with SM57 and Royer 121. The Royer is just ever so slightly blended in to give it a little bit fullness. And then, you know, I'm recording this to Pro Tools. And in Pro Tools now I have a little bit of a Van Halen delay. It's a stock Pro Tools delay plugin where I have 398 milliseconds left, 798 milliseconds right. So you get this just a little bit delay thing in there. Cool. Okay, then let's put everything to noon on the RD Compact pedal, and let's see how that sounds, and then let's dial a sound that I really like. So it's always let me actually do this, because this is now in the loop. All the pedals are in the loop, so you know it's clean signal path. But now I'm gonna use this so you can see from the video when it's on and off. It's a really good sound, everything on center. But yeah, let's go through this. So the preamp section, it adds a lot of top because it's designed that when you hit this straight into a power amp, the power amp. Like this. Okay, we don't want that. Then EQ1, you heard EQ2. So it adds a lot of upper mid. If you have a really dark amplifier, which I don't have, I have a Marshall JCM800 now, which isn't really dark. So this is fine. And then you can adjust these settings with this adjustment knob. So clockwise, it adds lows end and tames down the highs. Counterclockwise, it you know, tames the lows a bit and adds a bit more presence. I feel like they're around 10, 11 o'clock. I really like it. Let's keep it there. Then let's add a little bit output to push the amp a bit. Like that. And then a little bit highs. This is very smooth control. Like that. A little bit more gain. Just where it starts. Really good sound. This is just a blend, you know, dry it's the clean amp, and you can blend this in. It's kind of cool feature. We're gonna keep it full because that's the way you get the best impression of this pedal. And then lows. So I feel like around 10 o'clock is kind of tight but full. And then the more presence thing, you know, if I turn it clockwise, counterclockwise, so it kind of simulates the behavior of the real amp's kind of negative feedback thing. At least that's how I hear and feel it. So around 10 o'clock, it adds a little bit more bite. Really cool. So yeah, that's into a completely clean 800. This is really cool. Like you know, if you're touring and you use a rental backline, I always used to carry a similar pedal with me. Sometimes, you know, I had always JCM800 usually on the technical rider, and sometimes they were just like done. You know, there wasn't no gain. It was really. But the clean sound, you know, it always sounded good on clean. And then I just hooked a similar pedal in front of the clean channel, and then I got a clean sound. And then, you know, your cranked hard-rotted Plexi. What is cool, this behaves like an actual amp when you boost it with an overdrive. Check out what happens when I engage a BOSS SD-1 in front of it. we can actually add a little bit lows back because SD1 cuts it. So it's literally an amp in a box and takes overdrive pedals like SD1, just the same than a 800 or modded Plexi. Okay, now let's compare it to my modded Plexi. So this has the Jose mod in front and a master volume. So there's an extra gain stage, and the Plexi sound like this. Now this is the real deal. Nothing in front. Okay, then let's go to the 800 clean with the RD compact. It's a little bit darker, let's make it a little bit brighter. Back to Plexi. I'm gonna switch back and forth. Yeah, they're not now the same because I had the Plexi setup, whatever, and the amp, but you'll hear that it's definitely in the ballpark. Cool, all right. So that was that in front of the clean amp. Was great. Hot-rodded Plexi tones, no problem. Takes overdrive pedals like a real amp, like a champ. Now let me put this into a power amp and we'll see how this acts and behaves and works as just like a standalone preamplifier. Alright, so now the output of the pedal goes straight into the effect loops return of a Peavey 5150 black letter, which is there. The resonance is set on 6, the presence here below 8, how I usually have them. You can't see it, but I'll put a picture. So it sounds like this now, straight into the power amp. So when you go straight into the power amp in 5150 cases, only the resonance and presence controls work because they operate in the power amp section. Alright, let's engage the RD compact. Everything is set at noon except the blend is a full blend of the device. Yeah, it was now again in the loop. now bypassed, then I put it on. Now I have the switch at the power, and check out what happens when I put it to the EQ1 or EQ2, which is meant to be used when you have this in front of a clean amplifier. So it becomes really dull. But now it kind of turns into like a preamplifier. Awesome. Okay, let's tweak this a little bit. Well, I think that's it. Okay, and now let's boost it with the Maxon OD808. SD-1. Conclusion. I've tried quite a few of these amp in a box and Plexi hard-rotted Marshall in a box pedals, and I think this is the best one I've tried. It's really genius, because I'm not sure, but I think this is the only pedal that has this dedicated switch, so when you go straight into the power amp, it changes the character to like a real preamp, so there is more highs, more lows, like on a dedicated preamplifier, which is meant to be, you know, plugged into a power amp. And then if you use this in front of a amp, a clean amp or slightly overdriven, whatever you prefer. I will use this like I used now in front of a clean amp, so I have a completely clean sound from JCM800, which is not really known for that, but great clean sounds from that amp too. And then having this as a preamp, but with these switches, because there is already lows and highs added in the amp, so it just adds this. It's almost like then kind of like an overdrive distortion. Well, I think it's kind of like overdrive distortion preamp then. And with these two settings into a darker amp, you know, adds more bite, and then you can fine tune it. And then the great, you know, controls, highs, lows, which are like kind of smooth, so you can't really dial a bad sound, which is good for us guitar players. And then the more presence, kind of the negative feedback. Let me actually cheat from the manual that if I'm actually speaking where did I put the manual? Here. Because it feels to me that it's negative preamp. Oh, yeah, the control affects negative feedback in the output stage. Like you know, I suspected. Yeah. Strong recommendation, and thanks Origin Effects for sending me this to try out. And I think this one is a keeper, you know, even though I have a Plexi and whatever, but pedals like these are always good to have in your toolbox, especially if you are a touring musician. Thanks for watching. Check out links to Origin's website for more information. Thanks for watching. If you like, you know that stuff. So, all right, until next time, take care. Bye.